Right, so there's something else that I was asked not that long ago, and I had a little bit of time this afternoon, so I thought I'd answer it. And that was someone mentioned I had a lot of vapor blasters in here, and wondered why I kept so many around. So part of that's development, but the two I have in the corner here, you'll notice in most of my videos, they're always here, and there's a reason for that, and that's this one here has got a harsher media in it. You may have heard me mention that before in my other videos, and that one there's got the cleaner stuff in it. So all the really nasty stuff will go through that first. And if I just quickly open that up for you, it's a bit of a mess in there, and that's just because of the media that's used. It's not a glass, it's aluminium oxide. Covers the screen. It's a lot harder to see. I need to update this, but for what I need at the moment, it does the job. And this one here, then if I turn on the light in there, you can see it's a lot cleaner in here. There's a wiper in here. Once it's gone, it's a lot easier to see. So I put the clean parts in that, and the reason I do that, if I go back to this part over here, is when you've got a heavy corrosion. Apologies for the light, it's a little bit overcast today, but if you have a look on there, it goes really dark black. And if you have a look in this one, this is what happens if you just use glass beads. You can see there's a lot of black in there, and it's very difficult to get out with the beads that are a little bit soft. They're rounded, they don't quite get in there, they don't have any cutting power. So if I go have a look over this side here, there's still a bit, like a couple of pieces, and then you can see a few specks. But I got most of it. That's mainly because I was rushing, not because that's the best that it'll do. But I went through first on that, and then same on the top there. I went through first with the harsher stuff, and you can still, it looks a little bit black. Part of that's just the light. Once I get it in there, you can see that that's just the shadows. And it's actually clean right the way through. And so that's the finish you can get with the harsher media first, and then the glass beads. That there was just the glass beads. See all the black, the tarnish left in there, and then without it, heaps better. So that's why I have two. The whole thing was this sort of dark black all over. That's with just the glass. That's just with the aluminium oxide, and that's with the aluminium oxide first, then the glass. And again, these ones are just cheap cabinets I made at home. This is the first one that I built that you would have seen in there, the $500 build, one of my more popular videos. This one was another one I did slightly before, but I'm using this one for the other stuff. But if you'll notice in there, that's the first nozzle that I made in the first homemade nozzle video. And then that one there is the one that I just made on one of my later videos. So this whole part that I just did there, that was done in these two machines here. Again, first with the aluminium oxide in this smaller one, and then with the glass beads in that one there. So I don't know if the fluorescent light's going to show it any better. A bit of a flicker there, but you can kind of see a little better there. There's not that black tarnish in it. It still looks a little dark in places, but that's because with the pitting in there, there are small shadows. But you can tell there's a massive difference between the black tarnish there, left on by just the glass beads, and the aluminium oxides, then glass bead afterwards on that side there. So you get a much better finish. This is just a spare bit I've got lying around. It's not going back on an engine or anything, so I'll leave that like that for now. I may use it for testing later. It's got some pretty heavy corrosion on it, so these are the sorts of parts that I like to test on, just because it's sort of one of the more difficult parts to clean, meaning that it really puts the machine through the test. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. Oh, one last thing. I just had a question, I think it was last night or the night before, about the inside of these sandblast cabinets when they're being used as sandblasters, all the powder coat wearing off on the inside. So if I just show you again on the inside of that, I've got stainless steel bolts in this one. Some of the bolts will start rusting if you've just used the zinc plated, but as you see on the back wall there, where usually the powder coating or paint comes off, it's still pretty good. Now that's because the water that has the media suspended in it, a lot of the velocity drops off once it's hit the part and it's continuing off into other parts of the cabinet. And that reduction in velocity is, I believe, what protects the back of the cabinets so they don't rust out. So this is one of my older ones. I've been using this quite a lot, and as you can see, it still hasn't worn through the powder coating. So this one here is just powder coated. A lot of my other machines, I'll actually spray like a 2-pot epoxy on the inside just to give it kind of a sacrificial layer that you can go through later and spray on again if it's causing any issues, and if it's sort of made it through that top layer and starts getting to your powder coat or your bare steel, you can go through, hit it again with the epoxy, and it's just that sacrificial layer. But other than that, that's all I've got for this video. I've got a few more coming out that I want to do. I've got a few things I want to do on the world's cheapest vapor blaster unit. I'm not done with it yet, but I've got a few other things I want to cover. So still got plenty to do. As time comes up, I'll continue to add some more videos. Once again, any questions you have, more and more people are leaving comments there saying that they're finally getting around to building their own. That's really cool. If you do, put some videos up, show everyone else what you've done, and like I say, keep building the community. Cheers.